What's up YouTube? Today I thought I'd do a video on the 1911 and why do people hate it? No, seriously, that's a question. Why do people hate the 1911 so much? It was developed by John Moses Browning and adopted by the US military in 1911. Since then, it went through 2 world wars, went to Korea and Vietnam. Now it was replaced by the M9, but 100 years later, it is still talked about and it's still a popular firearm. I dare you to go to a gun shop and not see a 1911 somewhere for sale. So if it's so hated, why is it still around? Now I understand, it may not be the best carry gun in the world. It's a full metal gun. I know they make aluminum frame firearms, and in more rare forms they do make them in polymer. For the most part, they are a full metal gun, which means they're heavy, very heavy to carry around. The reason why I stopped carrying my gun, this is a Colt Commander 1911. It's a 4¼ inch slide. I stopped carrying this firearm because I was having issues with rusting. I carried it for a very short amount of time, and in that short amount of time I was amazed with how much rust was accumulating inside the frame. Now I was able to control the rust, but it was still kind of an uncomfortable firearm to carry with me, and just the fact that I was marring up the finish kept bothering me because 1911s are beautiful guns, and with a carry gun it's going to get knocked around, it's going to get some dings on it, and for me it was kind of painful to see on my 1911, and that's the main reason why I stopped carrying it. But I can see it being a negative for wanting to carry a firearm like this. Now the other thing I hear people say all the time is the capacity. Oh, it only holds 8 rounds. Well, there's modern firearms that only hold 8 rounds. So if that's a big thing for you, I understand. The 1911 might not fit your criteria for a carry gun, and I do not fault you. But it doesn't mean the 1911 sucks. It just means it doesn't fit your criteria. Now the thing I hear more than anything when people are talking about the 1911 is it's a jam-o-matic. There's so many names for it, and I can't tell you how many times I'm on Facebook and I see it littered with, oh, 1911s suck. In my experience, the 1911s have not been that terrible of a firearm. For example, this is my Nighthawk 1911. I'm really proud of it because I hand fit it together. It has Wilson Combat internal parts, Wilson Combat springs, and then the outer shell of a Nighthawk. I have shot 3,000 rounds through this thing without a failure. Now I did clean it in between, but for 1,000 rounds it would not jam. It's a very reliable firearm. But with my carry gun, I did have a jam. Now I went to my concealed carry course and I brought this along with me, and during the qualifications I had it jam. I brought it home, I started looking at the springs, and I realized it's been a long time since I've replaced them, and I put in Wilson Combat springs, which I cannot say enough good things about Wilson Combat. I put them in the firearm and it just ran like a top. Now I have seen 1911s jam, and a lot of times it's because it's a lower quality 1911. Now I can already tell you that people are going to get mad when I say this, but I have seen Rock Island Armory 1911s failing. Now, it's a good entry-level 1911, but I have seen internal parts wear down where you would have to replace them. I had a buddy that was shooting one and the sear wore out. He had to replace it with a brand new sear, and it was just extremely finicky. He started having more parts on the internals break, and eventually he had to replace the whole trigger assembly. As soon as he did that, the firearm actually worked well. It actually shot very reliably, and he also put Wilson Combat springs in it, and it just changed the function. But I always love when I hear people say, oh, there's too many internal parts, too many places to fail. It's actually not that overly complicated of a firearm. If you actually look at the schematics, it's very similar to a lot of modern firearms. I always love when I see that person that says, oh, the 1911 is going to fail because it has too many internal parts, too many places to fail. And then they turn around and rant and rave about a double action revolver like they've never taken the side plate off of it. It's a very complicated firearm, whereas the 1911, it's not actually that complicated. Now granted, it's definitely not as simplistic as a modern day striker-fired firearm, but it's not as complicated as they make it out to be. Now I will say, if it has lower quality parts, it's not going to function as well. This 1911, the Colt Commander, was an $800 firearm. You can get a striker-fired polymer firearm chambered in the same caliber for a lot less. You're not going to worry about dinging it up. Not going to worry about as much as you would with this. Plus, I have seen those things being extremely reliable. There's a lot of reasons not to carry a firearm, and I found one that convinced me to stop carrying the 1911. But it doesn't suck. A lot of people hate it, and I just don't understand why. I understand it doesn't fit everyone's criteria, and it may not be the best carry gun for everyone. But it's still a fantastic firearm. If you've never shot one, you're really missing out. They are such accurate firearms. I've never heard anybody dispute the accuracy of these firearms. They are very accurate, and they come with such an amazing trigger. I mean, out of the box, even with a low-end 1911, I felt triggers on them that are way better than any striker fire. They are amazing triggers.
But
So 1911s have that going for them. For me, the ergonomics are amazing. The grip safety actually doesn't feel bad.
that was a waste of 45s, but that put a smile on my face.
So this video is not about trying to convince you that the 1911 is perfect, because it's not. No firearm's perfect. I'm not trying to convince you it's the best carry gun. I'm not trying to convince you of any of that. I'm trying to say it does not suck, and it's an amazing range firearm. I mean, I can't imagine another platform I enjoy more to shoot the 45 out of than the 1911. It's really sad because it seems like everyone wants something to hate. Some people really hate the High Point, which I hate it for its look, but I have to admit it's a pretty reliable firearm in my experience. But some people just want to gravitate to something to hate. They just want to hate something. And 1911s are usually the thing. I always compare it to like religion almost. You get somebody who's very fundamentally stuck on something, and they want to convince everyone that it's perfect to the point where it's obnoxious, and then you hate the religion, not the person. And it almost seems like it's like that. There's the Glocks, there's the 1911s, and they hate each other. But they're both great guns. But I get it. Everyone wants to hate something. And it's really sad. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Please let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see in future videos. I'm trying something new with the lighting. I hope you guys like it. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of cool updates coming up.